coming at you guys again, not with a PHA pick'em like you usually saw in the video, but I'm actually coming at you with what will eventually be a blog, but I thought for the first one we need to make it a video, and I am dressed to impress because this is an official PHA college football playoff pre-week 9 top 8. We're beating the big dogs. All the big dogs are coming out with the real college football playoff rankings. After week 9, we're beating them to the punch, and we're going to call our shot. But I needed to talk about it a little bit. And if you guys haven't noticed, I'm not exactly the greatest writer in the world, but I'm great at talking. Yeah, you guys know it. So I figured for the first one, we're going to talk through it, give you a little bit of the ideology and the method behind this that we know we get from the college football playoff and why we have the teams where we have them. And then from here on out, you guys can check it out over on the blog at thepowerhouseathletic.com, okay? So out the gate, you guys know college football, you know the college football playoff. That's where 4 teams make it. They play each other for the national title, eventually crowning a winner. They seed them 1 through 4. And thus far in its illustrious history, all it has been is sucking all over the Power 5 conferences, and not just the Power 5 conferences, but the biggest brands in college football in those conferences. A non-Power 5 team has not got in, not even got close, and we've seen where teams that are very good, undefeated, ranked 2 or 3 in the country get leapfrogged at the end of the year out of nowhere. So I'm not expecting anything different this year. We have a great Cincinnati team who's ranked 2nd in the country. Hot chance, guys, that they get to make it in. And I'm going to explain why here in a second. But what we know thus far is the college football playoff, they care about a few things. 1, strength of schedule. 2, common opponents. And 3, what we're going to deem the eye test. Their big thing is they always want the 4 best teams in the country, which is basically their loophole of saying we're going to put whoever we want in. You can't say anything about it. Basically the complete opposite of the BCS, which we thought this was going to fix. So without further ado, let's go into the top 8. We're going to go from 1 to 8. So number 1, the team in the country after this week is going to be simple. It's going to be Georgia. They're number 1 in both the polls. They have a dominant defense, and they clearly passed the eye test. They have been rolling teams. They were my pick to win the national title in the first place, so I feel smart. They're the number 1 team in the country. They're going to continue to be the number 1 team in the country, and they're going to be number 1 on this poll until the end of time or until someone beats them, and that's just the way it is. Number 2, this is a hot take, and I don't like it, but it's just facts, okay? Alabama is going to be number 2 in the poll come this week, all right? They have the big notoriety as far as branding and team name. They have Nick Saban, who is maybe the biggest coach in all of college football, and they got a lot of this. Yeah. Cash, which is all these motherfuckers care about, is money. So that's what Alabama brings. That's why they're going to be slotted at number 2 and make it nearly impossible to get pushed out of the top 4 by end of year. Number 3, we're going Michigan. Michigan is by far potentially the biggest brand in college football when they are good. Well, guess what, guys? They're good, and they're very good. They pull off the big win this weekend against Michigan State. They'll be sitting at 3, maybe even 2, because if you think Alabama has money, Michigan State has big money. They also play in the Big Ten. They're the number 1 team in the conference if they win this weekend, and the Big Ten is the 2nd biggest revenue conference in football behind the SEC, so you know damn well they're going to make sure that whoever's on that committee, the 13 people, put their best team in, if not try to get 2 of their teams in. Michigan is that team. They're not going to play around. They're putting them at 3. And then at number 4 for the poll, we're going to put Cincinnati here for now. It's going to be really hard for the committee not to put them in the top 4. They're number 2 in both the polls. So right out the gate, how are you going to tell me they're the 5th team in the poll when they're number 2 in the coaches and the AP? But they're getting no real respect, and I'm going to explain why, okay? There's a reason they're going to be put at 4, and we're going to explain it right here. Number 5, Ohio State. Yeah, they're going to keep winning, and if they keep winning the way they've been winning, that's a clear avenue for them to leapfrog Cincinnati into that slot, because if they keep winning, and let's say we have a matchup where let's say they beat Michigan to make it into the Big Ten. We now have a 1-loss Michigan, a 1-loss Ohio State. One of them's getting in, and I'm guarantee you right now they'll try to put them both in if they can over an undefeated Cincinnati. It's just a fact, okay? Because they love Ohio State. Ohio State's got the cash, and they're going to want them in over Cincy. Number 6, Oklahoma, okay? Oklahoma's not a good team, okay? They're terrible. Everyone knows they're terrible. They haven't passed the eye test, but guess what? They're Oklahoma. They're basically Alabama. Huge money, huge notoriety, huge name. If they go undefeated in the Big 12, which quite frankly is maybe the 7th best college football conference, but they're considered a Power 5 school, they'll get to leapfrog Cincinnati too, right? 2 teams now we know that can leapfrog Cincinnati. Number 7, Oregon. If they go the rest of the way, win the Pac-12, have their one piddly loss, knowing that they have the win in their back pocket, let's say if an Ohio State does run the table and ends up at number 2 or 3 in the country, and you're Oregon, you guys know where I'm going with this, right? You get to leapfrog Cincinnati. So right there, that's 3 teams that the argument, I've already told you what the college football playoff is going to want to do. I don't agree with it. I want to be clear about that. I don't agree with it, but that's what they're going to be thinking. So get inside the head, all right? And then number 8 for me, we're putting Notre Dame here, but they're here for now, not here for good, okay? They're not going to get anywhere close. They're going to hover around this 6 to 8 range just because they're Notre Dame, but they're not good. They already have the loss at Cincinnati. They actually cannot leapfrog Cincinnati. So they'll get to stay at 8 for now. This may be their only time in the top 8, depending on how the weekend kind of falls. But that's where they'll be for now, not for good. And then a dark horse I do want to highlight. They're not going to get any respect because they have no notoriety, no money. They're a small school, but they play in a Power 5 conference. And the college football playoff is going to have to put their foot in their mouth if they don't give this school a chance, if they continue to win. And that's Wake Forest, okay? Wake Forest, one of the smallest schools actually in the country as far as Division I, especially Division I football. They're 7-0. If they keep winning and they win out and go undefeated in the ACC, after the college football playoff has sucked all over Clemson's nuts the last 4 years and have allowed a 1-loss Clemson in, there's no way you're going to tell me you can't let an undefeated Wake Forest in. Quite frankly, you almost can't tell me you're going to not put a 1-loss Wake Forest in, especially if they lose against a good team, because the ACC has good teams. NC State, Miami, Boston College, Syracuse, like they have good teams that they could fall to. So Wake Forest, undefeated, they get to leapfrog, say it with me, Cincinnati. Yes, this entire thing is built so that the committee and the Power 5 conference can find a way to not let Cincinnati in. Cincinnati, I love you. I'm rooting for you. Go Bearcats. I think that's what they do. I don't know. I want you in the playoff. Keep winning. If you keep winning, they can't leave you out, okay? That's the only way you can guarantee yourself. And quite frankly, even if you keep winning, they may still leave you out, all right? But that's what we got for you guys this week. Our college football PHA playoff top 8 pre-week 9. We'll come at you guys next week with our pre-week 10 call-outs on our top 8 with updated statistics, updated rankings potentially, depending on what happens this weekend. And again, it'll be over on the blog. Check it out at www.thepowerhouseathletic.com. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, which is where you're probably watching this right now. So check it out. Again, next week will be on the blog. Until next time, fam. Peace.